synergy in the classroom. As a teacher, I have come to believe that many truly great classes teeter on the very edge of chaos. Synergy tests whether teachers and students are really open to the principle of the whole being greater than the sum of its parts. There are times when neither the teacher nor the students knows for sure what's going to happen. In the beginning, there is a safe environment that enables people to be really open and to learn and to listen to each other's ideas. Then comes brainstorming, where the spirit of evaluation is subordinated to the spirit of creativity, imagine, and intellectual networking. Then an absolutely unusual phenomenon begins to take place. The entire class is transformed with the excitement of a new trust, a new idea, a new direction. That's hard to define, yet it is almost palpable to help people involved. Synergy is almost as if a group collectively agrees to subordinate old scripts and to write a new one. I'll never forget a new university class. I taught it leadership, philosophy, and style. We were about 3 weeks into a semester when, in the middle of a presentation, one person started to relate some very powerful personal experiences which were both emotional and insightful. A spirit of humanity and reverence fell upon the class, reverence toward this individual and appreciation for this courage. This spirit became fertile soil for synergistic and creative endeavor. Others began to pick up on it, sharing some of their experiences and insights, and even some of their self-doubts. The spirit of trust and safety prompted many to become extremely open rather than present what they prepared. They fed on each other's insight and ideas and started to create a whole new scenario as to what that class could mean. I was deeply involved in the process. In fact, I was almost mesmerized by it because it seemed so magical and creative. And I found myself gradually loosening up my commitment to the structure of the class and sensing entirely new possibilities. It wasn't just a flight of fancy. There was a sense of maturity and stability and substance which transcended by far the old structure and plan. We abandoned the old syllabus, the purchased textbooks and all the presentation plans, and we set up new purpose and projects and assignments. We became so excited about what was happening that in about 3 more weeks we all sensed an overwhelming desire to share what was happening with others. We decided to write a book containing our learning and insights on the subject of our study principles of leadership. Assignments were changed, new projects undertaken, new teams formed. People worked much harder than they ever would have in the original class structure, and for an entirely different set of reasons. Out of this experience emerged an extremely unique, cohesive, and synergistic culture that did not end with the semester. For years, alumni meetings were held among members of that class. Even today, many years later, when we see each other, we talk about it and often attempt to describe what happened and why. One of the interesting things to me was how little time had transpired before there was sufficient trust to create such synergy. I think it was largely because the people were relatively mature. They were in the final semester of their senior year, and I think they wanted more than just another good classroom experience. They were hungry for something new and exciting, something that they could create that was truly meaningful. It was an idea whose time had come for them. In addition, the chemistry was right. I felt that experiencing synergy was more powerful than talking about it, that producing something new was more meaningful than simply reading something old. I also experienced it as I believe most people have times that were almost synergistic, times that hung on the edge of chaos, and for some reason descended into it. Sadly, people who are burned by such experiences often begin their next new experience with that failure in mind. They defend themselves against it and cut themselves off from synergy. It's like administrators who set up new rules and regulations based on the abuses for a few people inside an organization, thus limiting limiting the freedom and creative possibilities for many of business partners. You imagine the worst scenarios possible and write them up in legal language, killing the whole spirit of creativity, enterprise, and synergistic possibility. As I think back on many consulting and executive education experiences, I can say that the highlights were almost always synergistic. There was usually an early moment that required considerable courage, perhaps in becoming extremely authentic, in the confronting some inside truth about the individual of the organization or the family which really needed to be said but took a combination of considerable courage and genuine love to say it. Then others become more authentic, open and honest, and the synergistic communication process began. It usually became more and more creative and ended up in insights and plans that one had anticipated initially. As Carl Rogers taught, that which is the most personal is most general. The more authentic you become, the more genuine in your expression, particularly regarding personal experiences and even self doubts. The more people can relate to your expression, and the safer it makes them feel to express themselves. That expression is in turn feeds back on the other person's spirit, and genuinely creative empathy takes place, producing new insights and learnings, and a sense of excitement and adventure that keeps the process going. People then begin to interact with each other almost in half sentences, sometimes incoherent, but they get each other's meanings very rapidly. Then whole new worlds of insights, new perspectives, new paradigms that ensure options, new alternatives are opened up and thought about. Though occasionally these new ideas are left up in the air, they usually come to some kind of closure that is practical and useful.